Hello everyone, my name is Susie and I wanted to welcome you to my journaling space. Today I wanted to show you a bit of my Techo Kaigi for 2026 and also show you where I'm at for January. So last year I was in a Hemlock and Oak. And as you can see, this was a daily, Hemlock and Oak Daily. I really loved being in this journal. And as you can see, it got quite chunky. I'll give you a quick glimpse into this journal. I will film a complete flip through at some stage, but basically you can see it was a day to a page and I stamped and I used stickers and I recorded the weather most of the time. I was pretty consistent in this. However, we had a big international move in July and after that, life got really busy and I found a day to a page to be a lot of pressure, a lot of work. And I was really stressed towards the end of the year as well. So I wasn't as consistent. And there is some pages that did not get filled out. I think there was only about 5 pages, to be honest, in the end. And at the end of last year, I just sort of went, you know what, that was that. That's life, right? So I'm really happy with how this actually turned out. And I had fun doing my own sort of printables and collecting bits wherever I could. Because it was like our last 6 months in Switzerland, I was very aware of what we were leaving and I was so motivated to document our last stint there. We were there for 9 years before we moved back to Australia in August. So it was really fun to sort of record what life was like in Switzerland before we left. See, this is a page I never got to finish. And it's a bit of a mix. I did a trip to Amsterdam and Belgium, Knocker, Bruges, and I did a quick stop in Paris for Louise Carmen's. Actually, I did 2 trips. I ended up going back just before I left because anyone who knows that shipping is very expensive for Louise Carmen to Australia. So I stocked up on some things. And then I also documented our final days before we moved, which is really special to me. We had a week in Singapore, which I'm so glad I documented too. And then also settling back in Australia and all of the fun that goes with setting up a new house and exploring a new city for our kids who have never seen Australia before. And that was really fun. But I was having some stressful times when my husband was away and I was trying to keep the fort down solo. So I kind of you can see here, I started to just draw my titles instead of stamp them. I missed out on doing the weather for most days. I guess I was dealing with a lot of child meltdowns and if you know, you know. And I just sort of lost It's not so bad. I did back journal a little bit, but there are some pages here that did not get filled in. Like this was a bit less than I usually do. There's definitely no weather. And Cat Collage, I love their latest stickers. It's like this page is empty because nothing happened. I don't remember what happened. I had no time to journal. Actually, I would tick all of maybe the last two. Let me just go in and tick these now because I forgot to do that. Yes, there's another one there. This page is unintentionally left blank. I love that. So that's what I was coming from in 2025. Oh, this is what ended up replacing this, or what I got more interested in, was daily logging. So this is a traveler's notebook and an undated. And I just started doing this and it was what I could keep up with. So I continued to do this. So basically like what my day was like, what was happening in my day. And actually I was able to back journal a little bit in there because I had done this. And this was like just enough like creative time for me to do this, to, decorate one page a week. So I also stuck in some memes because I had extra pages in this one because I only started this in September. And I really loved the way that this came out. So I was motivated to do this again in 2026. So that was the last page, kind of Christmas themed. Maybe I'll do a full flip through of these at some stage, but yeah. So that brings me to 2026. And what I decided was, first and foremost, to continue that daily log. I really liked it, but I also needed somewhere to do memory keeping as well, and that was only part of the story. So I did continue to do this daily page. I might just zoom you in a little bit. So this is my daily pages for January. This was actually from Journaler's Altar. I really like this one. I love her pages and her style of journaling as well. I'm really inspired by her. However, I usually don't document a lot of political things. I try and keep my journals pretty happy for the most part. But I understand there is a moment to like process and, this was last week, was it? And this was the last week I've done. I'm still yet to finish a little bit, but I guess that's February anyway. And I sometimes put some quotes in here. The amount of good in your life depends on your ability to notice them. And I use my stickers to decorate around the sides as well. So I'm really liking this daily log. It's not a big commitment for a day. And then also in here, I have decided to start my memory keeping in the Traveler's Notebook as well, as opposed to a daily. This is just a normal insert. And I wanted to take the pressure off of journaling daily and just capture the moments that are meaningful to me. I felt like some days when I was in the Hemlock and Oak and I had a daily page that I was recording some things that, in 20 years' time might not be as important. Maybe not. Maybe I'll find it interesting. But I felt like I was going into a level of detail and I was like pushing to try and find something to document, and it wasn't what I would probably normally put on the page if I which is to just journal whenever I felt like it. So this, I've just got a grid insert, and I really like the way that it looks for the most part. It is sometimes a bit daunting to have an empty page that you have to just fill, and I'm getting used to that. So yeah, there are some pages which I won't show you, but for the most part, it's all fairly, I try and put my daughter's drawings in, and I'm trying to document, but then I missed a lot of days as well. So I'm also questioning, did the daily journal really push me to memory keep? But I think right now I just needed the pressure off a little bit. We did like I organized a journaling meetup in the city that I live in Perth, and it was the best ever. And you know when you're like do something out of your comfort zone and you question it and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And is anybody going to turn up? Am I going to gel with these people? All of those sort of doubts and fears you have in your mind. But it was honestly the loveliest meetup and great people. We obviously had so much in common with us all being journalers. We could really like talk about our passion without fear of another person really not getting it. So this is the page I did for that. I probably have to finish a little bit here. And yeah, I didn't get to really journal much for the last week or so. So I just did a big photo dump and added some little things in. So yeah, that's working for me. And then I've also got a sticker book in the back. So that is the Travelers. I really would like to get some more charms for here. And I also have a camel one coming too, so I might change it up. Next up, I have my Louise Carmen Ernest. I've got a couple of charms on the side there. It's a lion and a rose representing my two kids. And I also got this agate from Louise Carmen. It's holding up pretty nicely. I still love the smell. It smells like real leather. It is aging really nicely. I've conditioned it once, I think, the leather. And I have an engraving in there. I've got my initials, and that says love over fear. Very good point for right now, if you know the news headlines. So the first insert is I have the a Traveler's insert pocket. I know it's a little bit smaller for the Ernest, but this is really all I need for a monthly overview of my schedule. So I've been using that. We're in February now, aren't we? There's not much decoration going on there. It's just very functional. I do have the portfolio for the Louise Carmen, but I haven't really used it as yet. In time, it'll fill up. I feel a bit funny about putting things in just for the sake of putting things in. I want it to collect things in an authentic way. For the first year, I've started a Commonplace, and I'm really excited about this. And I'm also being patient and watching it fill up. Like, I just want to put things in there just so I can use it. But, you know, you've got to wait for the inspiration to strike. I've put some ideas in there because this is the first time I've done that. And I've only got a couple of things in there. I think it's just one page right now. I watched Pluribus and I loved that. So I wrote a little bit about what was on my mind. And then I've got a couple of quotes in there. I really like this that I found on the Handwriting Club Insta. They said, tiny choices in your day reorient the path your year takes. And I like this one too. And now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good. And then this was from the Paper People podcast. I can't remember the guest's name, but she said, joy is reason enough. And I've actually put it on a post-it note here too, because sometimes you feel guilty in journaling and taking time for yourself, especially when you have little kids. And I sometimes need this reminder that joy is enough to do all of this. Spend some time here, to spend money here, you know. And then this one is actually just a memory keeping, and I just write literally some moments that I don't want to forget. And maybe they don't belong in the normal memory keeping, and I just want to focus on something beautiful, I suppose. So it's focused on abundance and love and anything else that really takes my fancy. So that's slowly filling up. These ones are Louise Carmen inserts. I really like the paper in this, and they've also got a tear out line in there too, but I don't think I'm going to use that because I want to keep them in there, but handy, I guess. I like that the covers are black. I think it looks nice. Some people fold theirs like this, which I think is nice too. So that is my Louise Carmen. Next, I have the Owls Research Journal, and I decided to use this for a joy journal. I was inspired by Nim's archive, and she had a joy journal, and I really loved the way that it looks. I love how free she is to create in that. So I decided to do this. To be honest, I was most excited about this journal going forward into 2026, but I have found it more difficult, and I know that sounds bad because it's like a gratitude and joy journal, but it is really helping me find the beauty in every day, and that's sometimes a challenge, and it shouldn't be a challenge, but it is sometimes for me. They have the weekly spreads, and I've just been collecting junk and punching it with this. I love this thing, and now I'm on a hunt for like packaging and anything that I can find to like take a little square out, and I actually really like the way that this has come together. I'll probably go back and find some other things and fill these pages, these boxes. But yeah, I really like this. I also have a lot of these stickers left. They're the daily. I got this. It's the, is it Dodolu Daily, and they're just these perforated stickers, washi stickers, and I think the illustrations on this are adorable and charming. And if I don't use it in my daily memory keeping, I just cut out. What I love about this is I can cut out around it and leave the date off and use that sticker for something else. I love it way more than the other one I was using last year, because it had the date across the image, and I think it was the Dolce. This is the one. These ones, I mean, this is not a good example because it isn't across the image, but see, it has like a big Monday on it, and sometimes, you know, the writing actually goes into the image itself. So I didn't prefer that as much. Some days I obviously didn't use them, but for the days that I did, you see the number goes over the top. So I couldn't really like cut it around and use that by itself, which was annoying. But these ones you can, and then this is what I've done there, is I've cut out from the daily page. And so anyway, into this was my first week. And these are the things that have given me joy or that I'm grateful for. So this is a really happy space for me to be in. And as I said, it's kind of a challenge some days. And I don't want to repeat myself. Like, my kids are featured a lot, and I don't want to repeat myself in here. So I have to really hone in on one particular thing. Nature is obviously something that I'm really grateful for and really gives me joy. So that gets featured a bit. And also, like, art and inspiration. I love to be inspired. And part of the joy in my life is being inspired by seeing what other people create. Like, I think this was Erin Ware. And I loved how this sort of like tied into the blue. I try and think about the ways that it complements and the colors complement. But I'm also trying to let that go too, because the most important thing is the documenting of something joyful for me. So hopefully at the end of the year, I can go back and go, wow, I live quite a life, you know? And some things like quotes and things like that I've taken from people. They're good reminders. And yeah, so this is how far. I still have some gaps, obviously. I try and like write some things down as I go, but I have to go back and backfill. So I'm a little bit behind in this one, but I will catch up. The last journal that I'm using for 2026 is this monthly. This is a Midori A5 cotton notebook, and this is my monthly journal, memory keeping journal. I started this last year, and I do 1 page for each month. I haven't actually done January. I'm going to do a video where we create that together. But this is my monthly journal where I give just a little snapshot of how the month went. And I really love these pages. I love looking back at it. The year prior, so 2024, I did a weekly journal. And I really love that as well. I love anything that consolidates and really like just takes the highlights and maybe lowlights of a month or a week. And as a family with young kids, I really treasure seeing all of these little pictures of my kids from a year ago or 2 years ago. And I know that this will be treasured. So this is how sometimes I have to add an extra little bit in when there's a lot going on. But I think I only had to do that 2 times. This one again, that was our extra holiday. So December I also had, and I created this little, it doesn't quite fit on the page, a little flip through. I got quite crafty there. But it was the only way for me to fit all my photos from Christmas on this page. I'm not sure I would do this again though, because it is kind of thick. And yeah, and that is for January there. But you can see that it kind of has made that stick out. And there are going to be multiple years in this. I believe it should hold around 5 years, maybe. So I've got to be careful. But I do have a cover for this, and I'm going to decorate it. I sometimes get some anxiety about how I decorate covers. So they usually remain blank, and I'm working through that. I'm trying to get better, and yes. And I also want to give an honorable mention to these 2 journals too. So this is another Louise Carmen. This is the Honore. I took off my charm there because it was giving some dents into my leather, which I wasn't keen on, but it's coming out nicely actually now. So I've got to find another one. I do have two of these, another portfolio as well, and I still can't decide which one I like better. I also have a green one, a green Primavera. This is a road book, but I'm currently just using this to house old travelers' notebooks. But I love this, and I would love to get it, like use it more in my day-to-day. I don't have a portfolio in this one because I've got travelers' notebooks in there, which are a bit more too narrow. But I use this one. I bought a Common planner to use potentially, but they came out and told me I was going to do the daily log in this one. However, then they came and said that their measurements of their columns are uneven. See, this Thursday is actually too wide in comparison to the other ones. And that really bothered me after they said that. They gave me a partial refund, but I didn't. After that, I was like, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. Maybe I'll come back to this notebook because I think I really like, I like the paper, like thickness of it. It's nice and thin. We'll see. I feel a bit sad I didn't use him. And then I was doing morning pages for a little bit, so I've got my morning pages in there, and I also have like some self-improvement things. So anything that I come across that inspires me to, that I want to work through, think about, maybe to do with my past or some plans for the future and where I want to improve and get better, some goals, that is all in here. Some of it gets spilled over, but not much. It's mostly in here. And then I also have started an astrology one, but I've only gone so far as to put my chart in there. But I kept on finding tidbits of information about my astrology chart, and I wanted to like put it all in one place. So that is what this is for. I will get to it at some stage when I have time. So those are my honorable mentions that the other one, sorry, is this notebook here, which is literally just, it's a Yuru casual life log notebook, Midori Yuru log. And I literally just write, this is just random notes and to-do lists. So I thought I would show you this because I do really love it and I actually use it a lot. But it's not as fun because, I mean, the pages are already decorated and they look so nice. So I don't usually go in and put stickers on these pages. I don't need it. So that is all I am using in 2026. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to do some flip throughs. I'm going to do a tour of my desk. As I said, I've recently created this space for myself. I went from using a dining table with a small set of drawers to my own desk and my own storage, and I couldn't be happier in this space. So I'd love to share that with you if you're interested, and maybe do some journal with me. So if this sounds like something that you would be interested in, I'd love it if you gave me a follow and we can start talking about all things journaling. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.